Welcome to the Up and Nerd Podcast. I'm your main host, Kyle, with my gaming co-host, John.
What's up, gamers?
How's it going, John?
Not too bad, buddy. Not too bad. Man, I'll tell you what. I've been playing this new game, Poke Rogue, like a freaking fiend. Have you heard of?
No. I saw you post about it on our Discord, and that's why I jumped to your stream and asked kind of what it was, because I was a little confused. So, spill it.
Yeah, so, Pokemon games, typical RPG, feel, right? You go through, you talk to people, you go through dialogue lines, try and beat gym trainers, and, you try and become the very best like no one ever was, right?
Yeah.
Well, Poke Rogue takes that concept and it removes all of the role-playing or plot, story, and development lines, and it just throws you right into the action. So if you're a fan of Pokemon battles, if you're a fan of looking at charts for type advantages and disadvantages for battles so you can min-max your combat, Poke Rogue is for you. It's also super fun just in general, but the idea is that Poke Rogue is it's a roguelite experience. So it's basically just a very difficult gauntlet that you run through until you get to the end. And, I guess it doesn't have an end. It just keeps going up. I think technically the end is 200 different battles to win. But you can keep going after that indefinitely. And your Pokemon will gain indefinite levels. I saw a streamer this weekend actually, that had over like a level 400 or 4,000 Mega Charizard. And he was fighting against like a level 4,200 Rayquaza. Like there's just some crazy numbers that show up in this game. You start off, you get like special items depending on your luck, and those items come with you. So, and you have to look at moves a little differently too. There's a lot of healing moves in Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
A lot of those healing moves are good because you can use them in between combat, right?
Okay.
In this game, there's no in between combat. You have to use your items in battle unless you're at the shop, which is in between rounds, and you can pay money to buy potions and stuff to heal your Pokemon. Every 10 battles, you get a free Poke Center, but basically you got to do 10 battles in a row, including a gym leader, before you get to a Pokemon Center and get your Pokemon healed. So if you're a big fan of roguelite games, if you're a big fan of RPGs and the Pokemon franchise in general, Poke Rogue is an awesome game for you. Super easy to sign up for it. PokeRogue.net. And it takes about a minute to sign up. You don't even need to put an email in. You got an account and you're playing right away. So I give Poke Rogue, if it was just on PC, I'd probably give it like a 6 out of 10. It'd get boring eventually, but you can play this on any device that has a freaking browser, pretty much. Like, you can do it on your old phone. You can do it on anything. You'd probably play it on your Switch. But yeah, anything with a browser you can play it on. It's an awesome game. Can't recommend enough. Poke Rogue.
Nice. So, I was going to ask you about that. So, does it still count as RPG? Because it took a lot of the storyline and narrative out, and that's part of an RPG is playing a character and living in the world.
Yeah. So the combat style reminds me of an RPG in that it's Pokemon, right? But other than that, yeah, you're very correct. They take a lot of the aspects and what it is to be an RPG out of the game. That's why it's typically referred to as a rogue-like game, because it's more like just a difficult gauntlet that you have to go through. But yeah, each time you go through it and you catch Pokemon, the IVs of the Pokemon, so they're individual stats that they develop over time that, have different weighted averages. They go up, they accumulate. So if you catch a Pokemon, Pikachu, we'll use Pikachu. Everybody knows Pikachu, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you catch Pikachu, level 10, right? Doesn't matter the level. Okay. The next time you start, you get a Pichu, right? Is that the base level of Pikachu?
Yeah, it's the smallest form, yes.
Yep. So when you start, a gauntlet, level 0 is where you pick your Pokemon. So you can pick quite a few. You have quite a few different choices there, but basically any Pokemon that you've caught, you can start with in its base form. So you start with Pichu then, and if you got a Pichu with maximum speed, then your Pichu has a 31 speed in its stats. If you've later down the road you catch a Pikachu with a 31 strength, or even a Raichu with a 31 strength, it's also going to have 31 strength when you start that new game with Pichu. So you get both of the highest IVs from both catches. You also you can pick the nature that you can use. You can choose whether or not it's shiny if you've caught a shiny one. The nature also depends on if you use an item on the Pokemon during your run. If you use an item on the Pokemon for its nature during the run, you get that for your base Pokemon for your next run. But yeah, it's a little bit of a complex system in some ways, but man, I'll tell you what, you just get in there, you start playing it, kind of tells you just figure out how to play it. If you've played Pokemon before, you know it. You've played the game. So,
fair enough.
Yeah.
No, I was just curious because I think one of my favorite things with Pokemon was always like the ridiculousness of some of the storyline.
Okay.
Like, my favorite's still Gold and Silver, just because of all the unnecessary stuff that happens in that game.
Just so much unnecessary stuff. We got these Slowpoke tails. You want to buy a Slowpoke tail?
First time I come across Team Rock, it's some creepy guy in a well chopping up Slowpokes with a knife.
Hey kids, you want some Slowpoke tails? Yeah.
Right.
Fucking.
And
creepy.
then you have the hostage situation with Team Rocket at the radio station, where they have the main guy who runs it in a basement and they've been beating him and torturing him. I was like, this is a lot for a 10-year-old to deal with.
Where's Giovanni? We don't know where he is.
Well, I mean, he's doing gym leader stuff, but then also, speaking of which,
yeah,
beating somebody up, your rival, he literally breaks into Professor Sprout, I think is her name.
Yeah.
I might be wrong on that, but they break into theirs, and that's how he gets his starters. He literally robs.
Oh yeah, that's true. He does.
Professor.
Yep. You're exactly right.
So that's sweet. Like, that's very edgy.
Yeah. For Poke Rogue, you do have a rival. I forgot to mention her. It's the best thing ever. Your rival in this game is so supportive and nice. She'll drop one-liners like, "I believe in you. You're doing so great, but I'm gonna beat you next time." Stuff like that. You know, she's just very uplifting, positive.
That sounds like all
rival.
the Pokemon rivals after a certain point.
Yeah. So she's, but yeah, she kicks your fucking ass so many times. I've lost my run to her so many times. She comes up, I think it's like every 20 levels or something like that.
Well, that's because you're not being the very best, John.
Like no one ever was, except for her.
Well,
she's actually a little better.
She's wrecking your shit.
Yep, pushing it in.
Right.
All right.
Bite the pillow.
But yeah, no, it's been pretty cool. I highly recommend it. I've probably, since it's mobile, you can play it on phone. You can just rack hours up. If the browser crashes, you just reload it. You're already saved. The game's completely hosted on a server, so no software to install. You just play it online.
So how do you catch Pokemon in this?
Yeah, good question. So part of the item sets that you get at the end are Pokeballs. So you can get Pokeball, Great Ball, so on and so forth, right? And then you weaken Pokemon as you're going through the gauntlet, as long as it's not a trainer battle, which is every 5 to 10, I think it is, somewhere in there. You can't catch trainers Pokemon, but you can catch any wild Pokemon you run into, which is at least like 4/5 of the Pokemon you run into.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was just random like that or not. I wasn't sure. I was watching a little bit, and I'm like, this is confusing. Where's the storyline?
Yeah, zero storyline. Yep, get that out of here.
John's ultimate nemesis.
Yeah, exactly. I just keep hitting that A button. This game was built for me, okay?
You're allergic to narrative.
It's very heavy, thick in the strategy, none of the narrative. Just where I want a game.
Fair enough. Oh man, I'm getting old.
Yeah, I hear ya. You're recording late because I'm I make you record late, huh?
Yeah,
I am a night owl. I'll tell you what. Oh, but good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, tell me what you've been playing, buddy.
So, I originally was going to start playing Fear via my poll, but then after watching the Fallout series, I had a hankering for Fallout.
Oh, yeah.
So I started playing Fallout 4 all over again.
Yeah? And how's that been?
I enjoy it. It's so fun. It's pure fun. I've enjoyed all the Fallout games. 4 is not my favorite, but it is up there.
Okay. I caught bits and pieces of the show. The show's awesome.
The show's amazing. The show is spot on for the game's tone, feel, and how characters interact with each other. So it is 100% perfect. We just talked about that last week too for it. That's going to be uploaded tomorrow.
Take notes, Resident Evil.
Right. Resident Evil.
Let's have a good franchise from a game for once. Thank you.
Yeah, what else? What other there was a bunch of them. Halo, the Halo series, they were saying that was trash.
Garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I just know Resident Evil always disappoints me so much.
What, the show or the movies?
I mean, yeah.
Because let's be honest, the first couple movies were amazing. One with what's her face? I can't think of her name all of a sudden. Oh my god, I can't think.
Rodriguez. Rochelle Rodriguez.
No. Not Michelle Rodriguez. The main chick, the guy, the one who plays the main chick.
Yeah. What's her name? Alice.
Yeah. What's her face? Now it's gonna bother me.
The one that's not in the games, the main character not in the games, in this awesome adaptation of a video game movie.
Listen. I was okay with it, and then, then they got to, 6, and it was like, this is getting bad.
I thought it was getting bad a little earlier than 6, but you know what? I respect it. I thought the first one was good. I wasn't actually disappointed leaving the movie theater, but I'll definitely meme it to oblivion because they did fuck a lot of things up with that movie, and it wasn't a true... representation
Mila Jovovich, by the way.
Yes, Mila Jovovich. Yep.
So for me, I started losing with it around, I guess, the third one.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Was the third one the one with Nemesis in it?
No, second one was with Nemesis.
All right, cool. So the second one started to lose me.
Well, I thought the second one was fine.
Oh, Brad, he's the Nemesis. You can see his blue eyeball. Oh, I'm so sad. It was my boyfriend. And now he's a big monster trying to shoot me with a rocket launcher.
Listen, she wanted a piece of that at the end of the first movie.
She did. She wanted them stars.
And then he got infected and his dick fell off. So.
His dick fell off. No, he became a giant dick monster. That's the Resident Evil boss ability. Just become a big slug vagina monster or a big dick monster with a big fucking arm.
Yeah, there's no in between.
Dick powers.
So, so I started playing through 4 again, and I've noticed with each game series I have a very specific playstyle. In 4, I usually go for high charismatic and science. So I decided to play what I feel like I would be like in a
super strong attack stats and charisma, but really bad on the grammar stat.
Max charisma, okay intelligence, luck, I'm not a total turtle in speed. Good amount of strength, good amount of endurance, and that's what I've been playing.
There you go.
And I've been enjoying it. I like I told you in 4, my favorite series of missions was the Silver Shroud missions,
Okay.
which I played for you on the local stream,
Yeah.
and you watched me suck at it at the very end. Like all the other ones were easy. It's just the last one.
It's always the last one, the one that people watch. That's what I find with streaming is, man, if you find the difficult part in a game, it's going to be when people are fucking watching, isn't it?
Yeah, right at the very end, the last of the missions.
Yep.
But I did eventually get through it. Like right after I signed off with you, I finally got through it and didn't have to reload it.
Nice.
It was
Man.
a pain in the ass. There's some with 4 has so many advantages, but it has 2 big disadvantages.
Okay.
One of the biggest disadvantages with 4 is the voice acting from the main player character. Because whoever this guy was not given very strict directions that he could go with lines. So there's a lot of times you'll be in a heated conversation and then his lines will fall flat because he
was just reading off of a script and maybe got some context clues from the script, but just like
there's no and that's what you can tell is like there was no context. The only time you can hear him really come to life are 2 different times is either when he takes Psycho, which is one of the drugs in the game.
Yeah.
He'll just go the fuck off real angry. He's like, I'll fucking kill you. I'm like, Jesus Christ, where'd that come from?
He becomes an anime character right away. He's like,
yeah.
Oh, I'll fucking kill you. Then he has the inner dialogue. I can't let them know that I'm actually afraid. I have to put up a strong exterior. Otherwise, people will be afraid.
And then the other one is the Silver Shroud missions where he gets super about the character and really reads the lines really clunky and heavy like old radio shows.
Okay.
I love it because it's just really funny because it's out of nowhere.
So so he does like the old radio announcer type thing. Well, hey there, kids, how's it going? That type of thing.
He's like
got a little bit of an accent, a little stank.
Now, villains, you shall pay for your perfidious crimes, so says the Silver Shroud. And then he guns everybody down.
Hey there, villains! No time for villainy here, for the Silver Shroud is here to douse you in bullets.
Exactly.
Nice.
So it's very amusing, and I've enjoyed it.
Very verbose. Got it.
I love it. It's just the game is so much fun for me.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'm trying to play as neutral as possible because the second part of the game that really disturbs me is one of the biggest things was the karma system, where depending on your actions, you could be really good or really evil or just plain out neutral. The way this one works is the main villain is not evil. Everyone treats them as if they're evil, but they're not. It's more just misunderstood.
Okay.
So it makes it really lame because there's no evil options in the game now.
Ah, gotcha. You know, like, I don't know. I think cutting things down to good and evil sometimes can be a little limiting, right?
Yeah, very much so. But with a game like this, you want to be able to, like it didn't limit it because it was just like playing D&D. If you killed an NPC for no reason, you can pay for it later on or nothing at all happens.
Yeah.
With this one, like there is some like dickhead choices, but there's no affecting dickhead choices.
Okay.
Like one was like, "Oh, my wife's cheating on me." Well, sucks to be you. Fuck off. And then there's the mission. Like you don't get through a mission. You don't take any points. You just tell them to fuck off and cry about it.
And be like, "Oh, well, maybe if you loved her more."
Yeah,
loser.
Like where in some of the older games it would be, good option, bad option, neutral option, which is I don't want to be involved usually. And then the bad option was like cartoonedly evil, like I'm gonna punch you in the face and have sex with your wife myself. Like,
Oh my.
yeah, like it was like usually like cartoonedly evil. Like,
Yeah.
the one person's like, "Hey, I became a ghoul. I survived this bomb. What happened?" And you tell them to fuck off, sticky face, and they run away crying. So it makes it really kind of sad because some of your evil options are just not that evil, and they don't hold any weight.
Yeah, I miss the days of Fable where you could kick a chicken just because you wanted to.
Yeah, and people are like, "Oh, well, moral choice gaming." Yes, there's sometimes moral choice based games suffer, but there's also times they're really, really good. Like Infamous. Infamous was one of the ones that pioneered it, along with Fable. And the problem is your evil choices weren't evil enough.
Okay.
They were just like, watch me get a growly voice and do more damage per hit. Where the good choices were, my damage is less output on per hit, but if I hit you, it arcs to everybody else. I clear out in waves.
Okay, so it's more of like a technical thing than
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But the storyline still kind of falls into the same patterns whether you choose good or evil. Like, it needs to be almost cartoonily evil for me for a karma system. Is like, I'm going to be evil where I'm just going to punch an orphan in the face while I wipe my ass with kittens. Evil.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's an alignment somewhere.
I mean, that's pretty evil.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
Right.
I'd say definitely not the kind of person I'd like to go to brunch with.
Exactly. But this one, at best, you're kind of like, listen, I'm joining the bad guys, but in the end, it's actually going to help anybody to be part of the bad guys. The bad guys aren't bad; they're just going about it in a different way for everyone to be happy later. I'm like, well, that's not evil.
Yeah,
it's not evil at all.
Yeah,
you're saving everybody just by kind of enforcing your will to make sure everyone's better off. That's not being evil.
I guess so. I guess there's a moral or philosophical debate there. I think a lot of people aren't just like, I don't know. I think it's okay for it to be more realistic that there's nuance and it isn't black and white between evil and good. They're just choices, and some choices impact people negatively, some positively. But
yeah, but
like
when you play a game, you kind of want to be able to be cartoonily evil. Like, if you choose to be evil in a game or try to, you're not doing it because you're like, oh, I want the nuance of like, oh, my choice was slightly not good, so let's see how this affects everybody else in a realistic manner. No.
That's true. I mean, whenever I end up evil in a game, it's because I just keep hammering the X button till I get through that damn dialogue so I can get back to fighting people.
Right, you're like you said, your enemy, your sworn nemesis.
No plot progression.
Like, if I want to do evil or stuff, or I want to make that choice that's not good, it's got to be not. I'm going to tell you you're not allowed to do something you want to do, and enforce that because it's going to help you later. No, it's going to be. I pull down your pants, tell you to fuck off, and then run over and drop kick your kid in the face.
Oh. Well, like, exposing somebody's genitals to their kids is pretty bad, Kyle.
They're wearing underwear.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, fair enough. All right. That's all right then. All right.
I was thinking more like pantsing,
I was just adding a little bit extra to this this humiliation thing that you're coming up with here. This poor person.
So Fallout 4 fell flat in that.
Yeah.
Now, I have all the DLCs. 2 of the DLCs a lot of people loved, and then there's a third DLC, the Nuka World, that for some reason everybody hates. I have no idea why everybody hates it, because I chose to ignore it because I wanted to play it for myself and hate it for myself.
That's fair.
But just the wider range of builds you can do with this and how they refine some of the perk systems in this is so much more elevated than the past games, which I'm super proud of them. Like,
Is that the Nuka-Cola of DLC makes that better? Does that? What are your thoughts on the DLC?
I haven't played through it yet.
Haven't played the DLC yet. Okay, all right.
I have not played through it yet. I want to finish the main game.
Yep.
Then I'm going to jump into DLC.
Then you can see if these chumps are right about the review that's not good.
I'm assuming it's not, because usually people are fairly even tempered with certain games.
I guess some games, yeah. You're right.
But then there's all the other ones that everyone freaks the fuck out for stupid shit.
Yeah, like because they're too sexualized.
Yep, and I was gonna say we'll transition to that right now.
Hey, there we go. All right.
We're transitioning, and we're doing it a little backwards today. Usually we start out with news and then go into the games we played, but we're gonna do it reverse. So in the news, there's been a lot of controversy over the game that just released about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, Stellar Blade for the PS5. Now, I saw when the demo came out and when they first announced it, they're like, check this out. It's a roguelike, Souls-like game, which is almost like Nier Automata, the Nier games, which, okay, fine, whatever. I'm okay with it. I feel the Nier Automata games and all them that everyone's drooling over, they're a little overrated.
Okay.
But whatever. So they announced it. They showed the main character. This is where the controversy starts. Controversy starts is, oh, she's too sexualized. She's too sexy. Not all women look like that. Da 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 da. The bitching and whining.
Yeah.
They want her to be overweight with a septum piercing and pink hair. I don't know.
Well, usually, these game developers, when they make characters, they like to, work really hard to find details to make their characters look worse, like by adding pockmarks and stuff to their fresh, clean models that they've made. So
yeah, stretch marks from them being overweight at points in time in their life.
Yeah. It tells a real story with the stuff that's clothed that you never see.
So that's where this started. So then the developers and Sony said, get the fuck over it. We're not going to change this. We're not going to censor it. We're not going to change it.
So their rights, yeah. Makes sense.
They're like, if you don't like it, don't buy the game.
Seems simple.
Cool.
Yeah.
So then the demo came out, and everybody loved the demo. There was a one point of censoring, which I was okay with. Cause I could get where it goes wrong, but I could also get where everyone's just being whine baby. The one sign for the club is called the hard R.
Okay. What's the problem with that, Kyle?
You know.
There's a problem with that. I got it.
There's a problem with that. But I also take in the context, I don't think it meant to be that way. But I could also take where there's no reason for a club to be called the hard R that makes sense to me.
I mean, there's probably some alt-right troll that's in that development studio who's back there like, oh yeah, they're gonna try and take my boobies away. Well, we'll get them. I'm gonna put the hard R on this banner, and then we're really gonna teach them a lesson. All those cucks are gonna get it.
So I got why they changed that. And they changed it to some other club name, which was fine, whatever. That made sense to me. So what happened is the game came out. Within 48 hours of the game coming out, a patch release comes out right after that, severely censoring the game.
Ooh, 48 hours after the game's released?
Yes.
Wow, that's wild. Okay.
I think it was the same. I'm actually pretty sure it was the same day. I just know I started seeing everyone bitching 48 hours later.
All right.
Where they took a lot of the costumes. Now, to be fair, this character is a very sexualized female character. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
Definitely butts.
Right? Butts and boobs, whatever. It's fine. If that's the character you want to tell, then, whatever. Everyone needs to get over it. Not every character is going to... Not every character is going to be a representation of you. That's not fair to a narrative. That's not fair to any game. If every character has to represent a specific group in a single game, then you're taking away from characters. You can't tell a story if a character is every other person combined.
Okay.
That's where the issue I have with this is Sony and the developer started censoring the crap out of the game. The one costume had cleavage. They put a napkin over it. They
Tasteful.
They like did all this stuff with jiggle physics. Her animation cycles all got changed, so she was less hip swinging, like when she walked. Like it's a bunch of minor things, but the problem I have with it, and a lot of people should have a problem with it, is the integrity of the company. If you look at your customer base and say, hey, if you guys are worried about us changing the game, we're not going to change it because guess what? This is the game we made. We're going to just stick to our guns. If it sells, it sells. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And then when it does sell, and it sells like gangbusters, a small portion of people, critics, that are not even that relevant to your game, when you have overwhelming audience reviews saying, we love this, we're buying it, we're pre-ordering it, a couple, Nancy naysayers say something, you get cold feet.
Yeah. Start changing stuff.
And you change stuff after the game sells. See, that's my other thing. They wait until after the game sold. So
yeah.
Everyone's got their copies. Everyone spent their monies.
It's a bait and switch. It's a bait and switch. It's like if I bought Bayonetta, right? If I bought Bayonetta, the developer said this character is going to be sexy. It's part of the game. Like, deal with it. It's fine. And I buy the game expecting that. And then they launch a DLC where, Bayonetta doesn't use her hair clothes anymore for her magic. She just always has a really nice dress on. It's made out of a puffer coat. Like, the fuck out of here. It's not what I bought this fucking game for. You know what I bought it for, because I'm a fucking weirdo and I want to see this stuff.
Are you saying something about me?
Yes. Kyle, look to your right. All right, cool.
But my thing isn't censorship.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it.
This is a really big censorship thing for me.
Yeah.
And it's integrity and censorship. The company just threw all the praise they got and everything else out the window because they made this choice.
Yeah.
Now, my thing is they should have left it, if they wanted to do something like this, make it an optional choice download.
Yeah, make like a boob slider or something, right?
Yeah, if you're bothered by this, download this.
Makes
if
sense.
You're not bothered by it, play the game. But once again, everyone caves to the loud voices on the Twitters.
I just want every game to have a custom character creator in it, so I can build my max proportion characters like I did with Pal World.
Yeah, I know, right? Like Cyberpunk. I was excited for Cyberpunk because, I finally started playing it a little bit. And that's all I set out to do is, luxurious chest, giant dong, kung fu fighter guy that can turn invisible.
Yeah, I try and make the ugliest, most difficult, and hard to look at characters possible. My goal with every game.
That way people are just like, hello, traveler, how are you? And they just have to look at this monster.
Yeah, I'm just some guy with this pink tuft of hair in the middle of my forehead for some reason. Yep.
Right.
Having a serious conversation.
I was laughing at Cyberpunk because that was the whole thing. I was like, his dong's not even that big. And that's max settings.
Oh my gosh.
But, so I have an issue with the bait and switch censorship. Like, it creates a lot of bad faith in gaming. And to be fair, and you know this too, John, majority of the gaming platform are white males who either
Ooh, what gaming platform though?
I'm saying across the board.
No, Kyle. No, we're gonna dial that one back because I disagree.
Okay, I'm not saying there's not diversity.
We are at 50-50, if not more, women play video games than men. Did you know that? 100%. 100%.
Where did you see the study?
Okay, so if we start disqualifying people based on the amount of time they play per week, or the platforms they play on, I mean, we can upset that balance a little bit. But when it comes down to it, women play video games just as much as men do nowadays.
I'm not saying they don't, but the overwhelming, there is a majority standard of typical majority players. Like, there are a lot of
I think
female
that's
players.
a very patriarchal thing for you to say, Kyle.
Oh, here you go. No, don't you start
the
this shit.
patriarchy that made the gaming industry is also complicit in the problems that they have in their communities, and they make a toxic environment for everybody else who's just trying to enjoy the game the way they wish it was made originally. Kyle, did you ever think about that?
John, did that hurt you to say?
It sure did, Kyle. I'm dying.
No, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
I do get it. Like,
I'm not
they're
saying
trying to. There is a group of people. There's a group that want to see that stuff in their games, and I think those games have a right to exist, just like I believe any form of art has a right to exist.
Yeah. Like, I guess what I'm saying is there's stereotypes in gaming, and stereotypes exist for a reason. And one of the things is the hardcore gamers that play all the time, and that's their life, are usually white guys who have nothing better to do.
There he did it. He just said it. He said it. It's white guys gaming.
I'm not saying like there can't be other, but
I'm flabbergasted.
Tell me I'm wrong.
I'm flabbergasted.
Shut up, John. Stop.
Have you ever seen a woman with a cell phone playing Words with Friends or Wordle or Farmville?
Oh, here we go.
Or Snake?
I love that you're just doing this to piss me off and get under my skin and just be antagonistic just for the sake of doing it. Should
we add Snake to some of these games, Kyle, to pander to the female audience so we can get more females playing these games?
Oh, God. Shut up. You're such a douche.
I love you, buddy.
I know, but just like we go to a Magic event. You know,
50% women. Yeah, I get it totally.
No, I'm talking about the top tier.
No, I'm just
majority players are always kind of like the same archetype of guy.
Yeah, fat nerd.
Yeah, fat nerd. Yep. I'd say 60-40 bad hygiene. That's
yeah.
It happens.
It happens.
It happens in usually some of those groups. Like, it is what it is.
You got to smell it. I do think the smelly ones really upset the apple cart a lot because you can walk by 9 people that smell completely fine. You don't even smell them, right? And then there's that one that you smell and you're like, man, look at all these fucking smelly ass nerds.
Yeah. Well, that's, because that's a cloud of waft and then everyone's got to sit in it.
Yep.
And that's why I salute. That's why I salute Yu-Gi-Oh! And their tournament rules of the stinky clause. If you smell bad, you get booted from the tournament.
If you have dust around you like Pigpen, maybe you should go home and take a fucking shower.
So that's the first piece of news is that, a lot of censorship happening in bad faith with bait and switches and everything else. It's going to ruin. I feel like eventually gaming's going to start taking the same route that a lot of movies are taking, and it's going to go down the Disney route where Disney's losing money hand over foot because they're pushing agendas over art.
Okay.
And when you push agendas over art, art loses its meaning.
What is art but a vehicle for the artist to push their agendas?
I'm gonna hit you in my car.
No, don't hit me with the Twinkie, buddy.
I don't have the Twinkie anymore.
You're always gonna have that Twinkie to me, buddy. I'm sorry.
But you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
at the point you start having to censor everything, or that, then there's going to be no artistic expression. Every game just needs to be Call of Duty now. Every game needs to be this, and just a flat game where there's no there's so many diversities that there is no diversity.
That sounds like the perfect game.
Like, you always have to make sure somebody's represented in every single faction, in every single way. Then it dilutes the narrative and the story and the feel of a world to the point where it's all the same.
You know, I widely agree with that.
And it like, listen, like, like there's movies they want to write about in the early 20s and 10s and 30s. They're like, well, this movie about Italian mobsters, why isn't there a bunch of African Americans in the mob? Okay. The Italian mafia didn't especially in the 20s and 30s, at latest, didn't have African Americans even remotely near the top.
Not very well represented in that group, huh?
Not at all. It wasn't their time. It wasn't the time for that. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. I mean,
diversity wasn't what it is now.
I thought everything was just the same as it is now prior to 1965. Did something big happen, or?
Shut up, John.
No, but
you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you're talking about. It's like some of these video games where like they try and do like historic reenactments of things, but they tell history in a distorted lens that doesn't match what the reality of the situation was or the time period.
Yeah, or a jarring transition where they go, "Oh, well, for sake, let's make this person this," which has nothing to do narrative, and it's just a weird, like, bump in the road, where if you had a horror movie that was scary and building up to a thrill, then jumped off into a dance-off or a sing-along for 5 minutes, and then went right back to the suspense and scary, you'd be like, what? It takes you out of the movie, it takes you out of the game, it takes you out of the scenario.
Pulls you right out of it.
Exactly.
I get that.
So that's that part of news. John, you had news about DBD.
Yeah, Dead by Daylight. But, I have to really hand it to Behavior, the company that runs Dead by Daylight. They actually got some fire chapters coming out. And, man, I have to talk about Netflix, and I have to talk about this new killer that's coming out. So, you're familiar, Dead by Daylight has a lot of different franchises, a lot of different things they pull into the game and try and incorporate it. So they have like Freddy Krueger, anything from Freddy Krueger down to Nicolas Cage, right? Like they have just like all sorts of different stuff, right?
Resident Evil, Alan Wake.
Yep, Alan Wake.
Hill.
Yep. Evil
Stranger
Dead.
Things.
Exactly. They got some custom characters they've made, like a creepy clown and, a doctor that shocks people, lecturer's shock therapist, right? Well, they had a chapter with Stranger Things early in the game's creation there, and they had a DLC for Stranger Things. You could buy the Demogorgon, you could get Nancy, and you could also get Steve. And then there's like skins for them and all that. But aside the point, so Netflix ended their agreement with Behavior, the company that runs Dead by Daylight, and they had to remove the Demogorgon and those survivors from the store, and they were gone for a good 3 years, something like that. It was to the point, since I started the game after they got rid of those survivor and killer, the price of keys to unlock those characters, because you could only buy them third party, were up in like the $250 to get all three of those characters.
Jesus Christ.
Yep, because, it doesn't exist. You can't buy it from the store anymore, right? So, and since I stream the game a lot, I was seriously considering buying it. But there's always been these rumors, right? We have Vecna in Stranger Things, right?
Yes.
Yep. So we have Vecna in Stranger Things. They start talking about Vecna and how that would be such a cool Dead by Daylight killer, and the internet starts buzzing about it. And Behavior, Dead by Daylight, they go and they're like, you know what? Let's get the licensing back for Stranger Things. So we get the Demogorgon back. We got Steve and Nancy. They're all in the game, and and it's freaking awesome, right? And I get the characters for $10. Awesome. Well,
Yep.
there's this big hype that we're going to get Vecna next, especially with Stranger Things coming out here in the near future at some point here. Well, they released information today that the next chapter is going to have Vecna as the killer. Now, the plot twist on this one is the survivor coming out is a bard, because they didn't get the Stranger Things license for Vecna.
Yeah.
They got
Yeah,
the
so
D&D license for Vecna. They went around Netflix, and since Netflix gave them such a problem with Stranger Things and screwed them out of selling it for so long, they just went around Netflix and they said, hey, can we take Vecna? And got the rights to Vecna. And apparently the Bard character class, along with Elf and Human. So that's what we're looking at for that. And I thought it was a very poetic, it's a very neat, silly thing. And I think it's a big comeuppance on Netflix.
Situation.
Get freaking wrecked.
Right, I'm really happy about that. That's a really good way to say go pound sand.
Yep, exactly. At the end of the year, we're getting Castlevania as another DLC for Dead by Daylight. I wanted to talk about this, Kyle. I'm a Castlevania fan, right?
Oh no, you absolutely are. And
yeah,
I'm just trying to think of like, how are they going to balance that one? That's going to be weird.
I mean, they have Vecna and DBD. They just kind of like downtone the power for the killers in DBD. They just have to. Otherwise you have like villains casting Wish and just, moving everyone out of the trial, right?
Right.
So
I guess, what are your predictions for the DBD, Castlevania DBD?
Well, with V Rising, they did Richter Belmont. And I think they did Richter. And they did Alucard. I think they're gonna do, I don't know. I haven't checked to see what the next Castlevania anime series to come out is going to be. But if it follows, I assume it's going to follow one of the Belmonts, and I suspect that'll be the Belmont that they release for the DLC. That's what I'm thinking. I could be wrong though. Castlevania, they don't care what Belmont you use, I don't think.
Yeah.
So.
They should just use Simon and Dracula for starters.
I agree with that. That'd be fine. Yep. So the problem I have with this is I've noticed Castlevania has done an excellent job at inserting itself into not Castlevania games. The last video game that was in the Castlevania canon that was released for the DS. That's how long it's been since we got a mainline Castlevania video game. We did have Lords of Shadows that came out in like 2018 maybe. But
no, Lords of Shadows, the first one was early like 2014.
Oh, I'm talking Lords of Shadow 2.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a Castlevania reboot series, which I don't know. I didn't really care for them that much.
Is it really a reboot?
Yeah, it's not part of the main storyline or canon.
Because it feels like a prequel.
It may feel that way, and some people may use that to justify it existing, but I don't think it's considered canon to the main games. But regardless, those are still released a long ass time ago. The most recent Castlevania-like game that I've played is Bloodstained: Ritual of the Night.
Yeah.
It was the best. It's the best Castlevania that's been released, in my opinion, since Symphony of the Night. It was really good.
You need to play Romancevania, which is also really good.
All right, I'll play Romancevania Romancylvania for you, Kyle.
Listen, dude, it cracked me up. I started playing through it. I'm a little about halfway through. It is so it's so satire of reality TV shows and of Castlevania. It's worth it. It's super. It
Yeah.
plays so hard like a regular Castlevania, but the storyline is so satire of both. It's great.
That's fair. Yep, but I guess I'll try that out, Kyle. I will one of these times. Promise this time.
Okay.
But I guess with Castlevania, it's I just hope they do something with the IP other than keep making DLCs for other games. I get why they do it. They could spend, a couple million on making a new Castlevania game, or they could get paid a shit ton of money to develop Castlevania sprites or give their license out to somebody else.
Castlevania is Konami, right?
And they end I believe so still, yes.
Yeah, because what's Konami been up to? Because I don't think they've been up to a whole lot.
DLC. Like, that's what it seems like to me, at least. But yeah, why take the chance on creating your own video game when you can make sure that skins for another video game sell? So why not just develop for that? And that's what we're getting with Castlevania and what that franchise has become.
It seems everything they've been doing in the last several years is rehashes. Like the Ninja Turtle beat 'em up games, they've been doing new rehashes of those.
Yeah, they re-released the Castlevania Anniversary Edition at some point, but it's just re-releasing their previous video games.
Yeah.
So, meh.
They did Metal Gear Solid. They did a bunch of stuff. Silent Hill 3 is coming out here soon.
Okay. I'll definitely play that.
Right. Everything they've done in the last several years has been just remakes or rehashes.
Yep.
Which is disappointing.
That is. My Have the Great have fallen.
Well, I mean, part of the reason why they're fallen is because they just decided to fire Kojima.
I think that's fair.
Well, they got into a fight with Kojima. I don't know if he was fired or quit, but it's been all downhill from there.
Yeah. That's how it be sometimes, though, But
fuck around and find out.
I know this is we talk more video games, but are you up to date with X-Men 97?
Nope. Has it fully finished coming out?
We are getting the final episode tomorrow.
Okay.
So start watching it now, buddy. It is.
I will start
awesome.
watching it once it's all out. That way I can just go through it.
Okay. I'm probably going to, when everything's said and done, I'm probably going to have seen every episode like 3 or 4 times.
Absolutely, and I mean I loved it. I mean I'm like 6 episodes in, but I stopped because I was like, I'll drive myself crazy if I keep waiting every week for a new episode.
Oh man, last week and the week before, it drove you nuts if you would have waited. It drove me nuts waiting for those episodes to come out.
Exactly, and I think I fell victim into the binge culture.
Yeah. I actually I'm really enjoying being excited for a TV show coming out versus just mindlessly binging an entire season of something. Like, I don't know, the release schedule for X-Men 97, the only thing I can complain about is they don't release on Saturday mornings.
Yeah.
Release it on Saturday mornings. It's my cartoon. Come on. What are you doing?
Right?
But
I don't know. As far as that, I don't know. There was a time where I used to like 1 episode a week, but at the time there was a nice plethora of TV shows that each came out at different points in the week. Like
that makes
Only
sense.
Murders in the Building, What We Do in the Shadows, Mandalorian, and all of them came out at separate times. So it made it a nice little packed week where I got 1 episode of one thing. Like I got to watch 2 or 3 episodes.
Yeah, you got your entertainment covered for the week. You just kind of get on a schedule, watch your shows as they come up.
Yep, and then we hit a dead zone for a while where everything's either coming out all at once or it's one thing's coming out and then we have to wait a month or 2 for something else to start releasing episodically.
How do you avoid the spoilers?
With what?
X-Men 97. I'm seeing them everywhere.
I just avoid them as
Fair
soon as I
enough.
know. But sometimes spoilers won't bother me if the show's like. There's times I've seen spoilers, and it does not ruin the show, the movie, the game, or anything for me because if it's well put together, well told, and well executed, it doesn't matter if you know how it's going to end.
That's fair. That's fair.
We all knew how Titanic was going to end.
I was thrown at the end, actually.
Right?
That bitch just
But
let
you know
her
what I mean?
drown.
Like,
Bullshit.
everyone loved that movie. We all knew how Rogue One, the Star Wars prequel, was going to end. Everyone loved that movie. So you can't really... You can have some spoilers and not ruin a good thing as long as it's well told, well executed.
That's fair. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can't fuck up something that's already good.
You can ruin an ending, for sure.
Okay, yes, you can. I guess if you can't ruin something that is already good.
Yeah.
Somebody can tell you how it ends, but if it's fucking good, it's going to be good whether you know ahead of time or not.
That's fair. Okay. All right. Yeah, man. Well, I'll tell you what. X-Men 97, check it out. Anybody who hasn't already, it is phenomenal. It is the best thing since Endgame that has been put out by Marvel, in my opinion. Yeah, I anything after Endgame has been worse. My opinion. Tell me something better. Oh, wait.
The Spider-Verse movie was really, really good.
It was really, really good, but you know it was better? X-Men 97.
I'm just saying. I can't sit there and say it's absolute, like, it is really good, and I will say it's definitely top tier. It is sitting pretty high on the mountain. But I don't think everything after Endgame was garbage. Like, there was
that's fair. That is fair. I will say it's the best thing since Endgame. Not everything was garbage, but there were some real big turds from the past.
If you're saying everything sucks after Endgame, that means you're saying Black Panther sucks. And
I didn't say that, Kyle. No, I didn't say that, buddy. Kyle, I did. Black Panther is so good. Actually, Black Panther, best hero in the Marvel Universe. Chadwick, shout out to you. You're an awesome, strong man, and I love you. And yeah, you know.
Well, I mean,
I just want to say that X-Men 97 pales in comparison to any of the Black. Did I miss something?
He died.
Oh shit! I didn't see the second movie.
No, like he literally died in real life.
I know. It's sad.
Yeah, I know. It was really. You know, he had such an listen, the first Wakanda movie, the first Black Panther movie was fucking phenomenal. And then the second one was a very much let down from the first one because he passed away.
But it had Namor
in it.
Name-ish.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Come on, he had the flying feet thing. It's basically the same character.
All right. Yeah, except for he had slight dad bod and.
Are you really shaming this man for the way his body looked in that movie?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
All right, he fucking went there.
Listen, if you're going to play a superhero movie and the superhero is supposed to be fucking ripped, that's part of the requirements. If you're going to play a hero or a villain or whatever, you have to look the part. We can't sit there and go, I don't want to do sit-ups, so guess what? Our such and such is going to be slightly out of shape because our guy didn't want to lift weights or do sit-ups. No, fuck him. He doesn't get the role. Move on.
I think Namor is kind of like a fish person, and fish people don't work out, Kyle. So...
Okay. If you've ever seen Namor in any of the comics, he's fucking jacked for no reason.
Well, this guy's a real person with realistic body standards, and he's not some elf with fucking magical legs from the sea, okay? So, Kyle,
no, fuck you.
Get with the times, buddy.
No, fuck that. You're watching superhero movies for the power fantasy and the unrealistic.
That's right. You just want to see Namor's smooth, but yet chiseled abs. You want to make sure he looks real good for you, don't you, Kyle?
Listen.
Kyle says, don't you dare take the sex out of my video games or my movies. I need to see a big, strong Namor with a 10-pack.
Listen, I was hating on the Batman, one of my favorite characters in all-time history, and then when Robin Pattinson played him, I fucking dumped on him because he was supposed to gain a whole bunch of muscle weight, and he was supposed to do all this working out, and he's like, fuck that, I want to be scrawny Batman. So we had to deal with scrawny-ass Batman.
Did you seriously not like that movie?
It was not good, John.
Oh, Kyle, that movie was fucking awesome.
When the fuck was the Riddler Zodiac? He was never Zodiac Killer.
I don't care about Riddler, honestly.
Then what the fuck did you watch it for?
Robert Pattinson, Kyle. Are you kidding me?
Fuck that. I was watching for Zoe Kravitz.
He brings out the vampire in me.
Yeah, well, Zoe Kravitz brought out the everything in me, so her hot self playing Catwoman.
You know what? That's a good reason too.
Right?
Kyle, it's been an hour.
Yes, it has. I say.
Kyle's like, it's been a fucking hour, John.
My old man bones.
My bones are starting to itch. I've been up too late.
Listen, I am starting to get tired.
Oh, shit, man. Well, hey.
This old man can't do it.